it be the best shark film of all time? I mean, it's not. I don't really know where to start with this film, alright? It was so god-awful. It was terrible. It was absolutely shit. But at the same time, it was fucking amazing. And maybe it was just Jason Statham and the charm he has on screen, but I don't know. I acknowledge that this film was not very good. It was made pretty badly. The acting en masse was bad, but the CGI was better than I thought it would be. From the trailers, I thought it looked really bad, and the posters, but on screen, the CGI, I see where they spent a bit of money, and it looked good. It looked good. It's one of those films which you know is bad, but you still love it anyway, and it's something which I will definitely rewatch. I was thinking about going to see it again today. I was just like, maybe I should go and see it again. Like, it was just fun watching it. Whether it was a good film or not, which it wasn't. But it was just fun, mindlessly watched, and it gave me a different cinema experience to anything I've had this year. And as I said, Jason Statham was very good in this film. He delivered his lines as well as you can for a bad action film. He was a draw, and he delivered in that regard. I do think that some of the Chinese actors, Li Bingbing, wasn't good at all for the first third of the film, acting-wise, not character-wise. Character-wise, the stories made sense, thankfully, in a way. Very odd, but it made sense. But acting-wise, she was pretty bad for the first, 45. Her dad, he was decent. He was pretty good. He gave something else to the film. Ruby Rose is Ruby Rose. I'm not going to say that she's awful, because I don't know how many times I've said that before, but she wasn't good. There was nothing redeeming about what she did in the film, unfortunately. Hero from Heroes. Yeah, he was in this film, and he was pretty good for what he was in it. There were a couple of other characters in there. A black guy who couldn't swim. Makes sense. The kid in the film was actually pretty decent. Again, just like Li Bingbing, she wasn't good at the beginning, I thought. I liked her a lot at the end of the film, and I think she was delivering her lines a lot better. So that was a big improvement, but it's a kid, so, what can I say? It's a kid. I can't rip on a kid, but she did improve. The billionaire character in the film was good as well. It showed that he had some arc in it at least, but there were so many jump scares in this film, and me just being like, I know what's gonna happen, I don't want to see it, but then at the same time me being like, I want to see it, like, I want to see it. It was it was the suspense. They almost double suspense things. Like, something happened, and then what you thought was gonna happen didn't happen, but then within like 10 seconds what you thought was gonna happen happened. You're like, is this shark gonna come and attack me on outside the screen? Like, if I'd seen this in 3D, man, I would have been jumping about full. I would have been jumping. I would have been like a piranha. Flying fish, that would have been me. The way they created suspense in the film was actually pretty good, in my opinion. It could have been better. It was a bit too thick sometimes. But it was done well. Like I said, there was actually a story to this film. I think it could have been executed better again, but at least there was a through line. All the characters had an arc of some sort, which doesn't always happen. Everyone had a role to play, and everyone grew with the film. And even the science wasn't that ridiculous. Like, I mean, the Megalodon being alive, I don't know whether it's ridiculous or not, but the idea of there being another layer to the sea, I don't know how to explain the science to you, because I barely understand it myself, but it made sense in the context they were given it. Basically, a gas cloud where we believe to be parts of the seabed, and because of that gas cloud and the temperature in that gas cloud under the water, nothing can penetrate the cloud. So because of that, nothing from underneath that part of the ocean can get into the regular ocean, because that cloud is too cold, and if they go into it, they'll die. So that's how all these prehistoric, because there was like a giant squid as well, which met its end. And the point is, this cloud is essentially protecting the rest of the ocean, sort of, from these prehistoric monsters. Do I think there's gonna be a number 2? Yes, they are definitely gonna make a number 2. I don't know what the story's gonna be, considering it's made $500 million on the budget it had of 120, 130. It might crack past 520 or 530 million maybe. They'll make a second one. I don't know if it'll do as well, but you know what? I'd go and watch a second film with this. If they made a number 2, I'd go see it if the trailer was good, and if they got Statham back. If they didn't get Statham back, and they just tried to make a cheap, like, direct-to-DVD sequel, I wouldn't have it. Again, he just has a likable personality on screen. Even though he's a dick in most of his films, he's still got that nice guyness to him, even though he might be a dick. And there were some lovely dives in this film as well. Well done, Mr. Statham. You got your career off to a good start in the diving world, and it clearly followed through into this. At least you got some dives into the film just for the fun of it. While I acknowledge this film wasn't good, it wasn't that bad. I don't know, it's one of those cheeky films which I'll happily rewatch. There are problems with it, but you sort of overlook it because it's so ridiculous. There was pretty heavy Chinese messaging in there as well. I think one of the end shots of the film was like just a Chinese flag waving on a boat. Like that was the end shot of the film. It was there and it was present, but I didn't feel overwhelmed by it. I just laughed at it sometimes. Like, that's pretty accurate of what I was doing. I just remembered one thing I really did like about the film, and that was the score. It was like this really cool mix between like a traditional Western score and like a Chinese score. It was really good, actually. I heard it, it was right at the beginning of the film, and I was like, this sounds freaking amazing. It was great. It might be the best shark film of all time. I mean, it's not, but it might be the second best. It might be the second best. Deep Blue is another one which is just awful, but you enjoy watching it. If not just for that that awfully CGI'd Sam Jackson being eaten by a shark like that. I mean, that's some next level stuff. This was definitely a better film than Deep Blue, but maybe not quite as good as Jaws. I see in the second one some scientists doing some weird mumbo jumbo on these sharks and making these sharks even more intelligent. And then you've got a hyper-intelligent dinosaur shark in the waters. Or they might mix some type of crocodile with a shark and have a crocoshark or a sharkadile. That sounds like a Pokemon, actually. Sharkadile. That sounds like a Pokemon. I mean, there is Totodile, but Sharkadile does sound like a Pokemon. So what would I give this film out of 10? The truth is, I'm very perplexed by this scenario. It doesn't happen very often when I watch a film, but it wasn't good, but I'd watch it again. The fact it has rewatchability means, for me, it's not that bad. I would say that it's like a sneaky because it shouldn't get this score, but for me, it gets the score. A sneaky 7.5 out of 10. I'd watch it again, happily. I'd take the 2 hours, bang it on, and just have a good time with it. I acknowledge that some people will not like this film. Some people will just think the acting is so bad that you can't get into it. At times, it definitely was a bit like that, especially with Ruby Rose. I would suggest, if you haven't seen this film, go and see it. So yeah, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10, but what would you give it? Let me know down below. And anyway guys, if you did enjoy this video, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there. If you didn't, then the Megalodon itself is gonna come after you. And you don't want that, you really don't, so just subscribe to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic, you've been great, and I'll see you next time. Skadoosh.